the thing you keep meaning to do, and why you haven't done it yet. There's something on your list, isn't there? You know the thing. I'm guessing it's probably been there for a while. Not the shopping list, not necessarily the emails. I'm not even talking about the stuff that nags loudly and gets done out of sheer necessity. The other thing. Now, resist the urge to scroll on by this or close your eyes or say to yourself, I know, but... I'm talking about the thing that keeps quietly reappearing, that you've been meaning to get to when things eventually calm down, when you've got a clearer head or when timing feels a bit more right. It might be a conversation you've been putting off because now just doesn't feel like the right time, or you don't know what to say anyway, or a decision you keep circling round and round, getting dizzy until the vertigo kicks in. Maybe it's a change you've been thinking about for longer than you'd care to admit. On the other hand, it could be a project, a plan, or something that matters to you but somehow never quite makes it to the top of the pile. I know this because I have my own version of this month. And just one of those things was this blog. It's not laziness, and it never was. The thing is, there's something that most of us get completely wrong about procrastination. We think it's a character flaw, a sign that we're just disorganised, undisciplined, or frankly a wee bit lazy. We give ourselves a hard time about it, which makes the whole damn thing feel worse because when we give ourselves more of a hard time, off we go again, round and round it goes. Sorry to bring in the research word at this point, but bear with me because it does tell us a different story. That procrastination isn't a time management problem. It's fundamentally an emotional one. What we're actually doing when we delay something is avoiding the way the task makes us feel. It's not that we're avoiding the task itself, it's the feeling we experience. Those feelings, here they come, arriving on cue: anxiety, self-doubt, perfectionism, fear of getting it wrong, even the low-level guilt of knowing you should be doing something. These are all genuinely uncomfortable in your body. And so your brain, being a very efficient and rather unhelpful machine at times, decides that the short-term relief of not doing it is better than the discomfort of starting. Every time we avoid the task, we get a little hit of temporary relief. The brain then files that away as avoidance equals comfort. Then it gets harder and harder to start. So you see, none of this makes you lazy, but all of it makes you human. Phew, thank goodness I know I still am one. So what was I actually avoiding? A question I often ask clients too is not why haven't you done it, but what does doing it bring up for you? In my case, honestly, a combination of things. A busy period where the blog felt like something I should do rather than something I was energised by. Then there was the subtle nagging pressure to make it good enough, which in itself started to make it feel weighty. If I'm honest with myself, the simple truth is that I hadn't planned well. I was putting too much pressure on myself to write something powerful, and I was juggling too many spinning plates and ran out of arm spinning time to keep everything going. It wasn't anything dramatic, it wasn't deeply psychological, but it was just very ordinary human stuff. But that's the thing, it's almost always what it is, human stuff getting in the way. When my clients tell me that they've been putting something off, like a difficult conversation, a job application, a career pivot they've been thinking about for 2 years, it's rarely because they're incapable or unmotivated. It's almost always some version of, it feels uncomfortable, I'm not sure I'll get it right, plus there are 17 other things that feel more immediately pressing right now. The things we put off are usually the things that matter most. Here's the bit that I find genuinely fascinating, whilst also a tad confronting. We tend not to procrastinate on the things that don't matter. We're not putting off our next Netflix binge, munching our way through the remaining Easter biscuits or scrolling through our phone in some kind of numb trance. But we do procrastinate on the things that mean something to us, the things that carry some weight around here. You know, The blog, where you actually want to provide some valuable insights, tips and tricks. The business idea that you know people are waiting for. The honest conversation with your manager that could change things for you and probably them. The decision about whether this career still fits who you are now. The time that you keep meaning to carve out for yourself. We delay those things because they do actually matter to us, because they carry some risk of getting it wrong, of it not being good enough, of having to actually commit to something and then be accountable for it. Even the mention of this begins to bring those feelings we talked about earlier back. Which means on some level, the thing you've been putting off is probably worth paying quite close attention to. 3 things that actually help and 1 thing that definitely doesn't. The thing that doesn't help is being very mean to yourself about it. Honestly, it might sound a bit silly to say that, but shame and self-criticism aren't going to create any kind of quality momentum. They'll probably create more avoidance, if anything. Giving yourself a hard time is in itself a bit of procrastination strategy, I guess. You feel like you're doing something about it, but sorry to say this, you're not. What does help? Number 1, lower the barrier to starting. Stating the obvious maybe, but the hardest part is always beginning. It's not the finishing. It's not even doing it brilliantly. It's just starting. I finally sat down to write this by telling myself I needed to just get the first paragraph out. Take my first small step. It didn't have to be a perfect blog. I just needed to start with the first sentence, getting down what was on my mind, which did then lead to that first paragraph, and then I got my momentum. You see, once you're in it, the resistance usually drops significantly. Number 2, ask what you're actually avoiding. Not why you haven't done the thing, because if you notice, that often leads us to excuses. But what feeling are you trying to sidestep here? Maybe it's the fear of judgment, uncertainty about the outcome, or a touch of perfectionism dressed up as high standards. Getting specific about the emotional blocker is usually far more useful than writing yet another to-do list that just gets carried over from day to day, week to week, month to month, or longer. Number 3, give yourself proper permission. Let's avoid here the kind of sarcastic or ironic permission. We're talking about real permission from you to you. Allow yourself to do it imperfectly. Allow yourself to adjust timings if that makes better sense, to start small if need be. Just the first tiny steps towards the thing. Give yourself permission to be a human being that doesn't have an unlimited amount of time and energy to get everything done on schedule. That's the permission we need to be allowing, a genuine one that's acknowledging how you feel and begins to lift the weight that was making starting feel so hard. On that note, a word about permission. If you're also late on something, if there's something that you've been putting off, avoiding, meaning to get to, circling around, but not landing on, can I give you something? Permission to be late. I'll also give you permission to start today, even if you think you should have started last month. And while we're at it, I'll give you permission to not have a good reason or a tidy explanation or a neat story about why it didn't happen when it was supposed to. Sometimes life is full. Priorities shift and things that were in the plan don't make it off the list because, well, just because. By the way, that's not failure. It's the reality of the somewhat chaotic reality of being a busy human trying to do your best. What matters is what you do next. Most of all, instead of me giving the permission, you know it's best if it comes from you, don't you? And if there's something bigger you've been putting off, well, sometimes what people are avoiding isn't a blog or a task, it's a much bigger question. Perhaps a decision about whether they are still where they want to be right now, or a growing sense that something needs to change, but the thought of actually changing feels enormous. So it's much easier to just not look directly at it. If any of that sounds like you, I would genuinely love to have a conversation. No pressure, no sales pitch, no being told what to do, just a free 30-minute introductory call where we can think through this together and work out whether coaching might help. To do that, you can book a free introductory call. Just look at my links in my bio here on YouTube, and you can get in touch with me that way and book a call. And a final thought from me. The blog got written, yippee, later than planned, imperfectly scheduled, with a healthy dose of self-honesty about why, and I hope some food and thought for you and some valuable insights along the way. Definitely not perfect, but after all, progress is better than perfect. And here's what I want to leave you with. Done imperfectly and late is still infinitely better than not done at all. Whatever your version of this blog is, the thing you've been avoiding, delaying, meaning to get to, remember that it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to arrive on time. It just needs to happen when you're ready from wherever you are right now. From the words of Zig Ziglar, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And from me, the thing you keep putting off is usually the thing most worth doing. Start anyway. Be imperfect today. Remember, if you're curious, you can book a free introductory call with me. Just follow the link in my bio.